Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trap Chat, meeting the moment, embracing and navigating pivots. I am so excited to be joined today by a amazing person. Across from me is Anggie Salazar. She is a marketer, a networking dynamo, a mom, also a partner at CROING and founder at Women Who Network Initiative. She's also the author of the Guide to Building Meaningful Connections. Angie specializes in strategic marketing and business development, helping brands like Diageo, Sol de Janeiro, L'Occitane, and Adidas. She helps them create campaigns that connect with their audiences. Beyond marketing, she is a strong advocate for diversity and women's empowerment, using Women Who Network to inspire women to build connections and share success stories. Thank you for being here today. How are
Thank you
you?
for having me, Kirsten, and thank you so much for that introduction. I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for the invite.
Yes, your smile so infectious. Every time
Oh,
I talk to you, I'm just like skin, as my parents would say,
oh.
skinning and grinning.
Yes, yes, totally.
So let's get into it. For those who don't know, your career journey actually started with an engineer, as an engineer, and now you're a partner at Crowing and the founder of Women Who Network. That represents several pivots.
Totally.
How do you recognize when it's time to shift your focus, and what advice would you give to people who are reluctant to confidently embrace their own career evolutions?
Totally. Thank you for that question. And I apply this not only for huge pivotal moments in my life, but I try to do it monthly, weekly, and is make a conscious effort to stop and reevaluate what you're doing. I think it's so important that sometimes we go through life like doing the thing and next task, let's do it again. And because I'm already an engineer, let's keep working as an engineer. And because I'm already this, let's keep doing this. But you need to have the space, not like within yourself, to stop and say like, am I really in the right place for me right now, or do I need to change? So my career change was something that I wasn't looking for. I love what I was doing. I was pretty successful at it. But what came to me was very, very big problems in my country. So I had to move away from my country. And when I did that, because I studied something that it's almost like the Venezuelan flag and my profession. Like it's like oil and gas engineering, and my country is so specific to oil and gas that I wanted to do that to
Yeah.
stay there at some point, right? And also because I love meeting new people, traveling and stuff, and that profession gave me that. But when it came a time to choose between my security or, staying safe or keep doing what I was doing in my dream job, I chose to stay safe. So I went ahead and moved. And when I moved, I realized that I love being in a city that has a lot of movement, that I can go
Yeah.
there and do this and do that. And at the time, what I was doing was in the oil field, and it was something that didn't align with my
Mm.
personality and which what I wanted to continue doing. So that's why I chose to move into a different direction. And it all started because when we when we went to Argentina, we went with the whole family, and that was my
Okay.
first move. When we arrived to Argentina, like my mom, dad, and sister started the move first, and I was still working. And when I got there, they were kind of a little bit depressed because my mom and dad were accustomed to be entrepreneurs. And obviously when you're an entrepreneur, you need a network because it's
Yeah.
all about, your contacts. And obviously in that country, they didn't have that. So I started, when I first got there, I started working on their Instagram pages for both of their businesses,
Yeah.
and they took
Nice.
off. My dad started in real estate, and my mom did decorative cakes, the most amazing ones. She's now working with CROING in finance. And
Really?
yes, and both businesses took off and helped us build our future again. And when my sister saw that, my sister is the founder of
Mhm.
CROING, she said, like, you're already doing marketing, wanna come and work with me? So I did that, and I started, my journey in marketing. But it was kind of organic, just out of the need of establishing ourselves again. After that, I registered a company in Miami, and then I moved here. My sister first was in LA and now is in New York. So that's kind
Yeah.
of the story of my many changes. And then with Women Who Network, it was about, aligning our values with something that we could do to create a legacy beyond the agency. And Women Who Network is an initiative that I hope to pass on to so many other women that can be part. And yes,
That
that
is so awesome. I love how you guys have built separate but cohesive and collective family businesses, and that you all stay together. That's amazing, and that's awesome that you all share the same thing, and you do have a legacy that will be passed down. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Moving on to trust. How do you intentionally cultivate trust in personal and professional networks? And how has that helped you when you've had to navigate those periods of transitions that you just mentioned?
I love that question, because what I truly believe in is in trusting people 100% until proven otherwise. And I've encountered on my journey people with the same philosophy and people who are different. And I had to make decisions to either continue working, or not only in a work related environment, but also in a personal setting, to continue or not moving forward with this person. But I think the most important thing is to, because if you don't trust, there are a lot of possibilities that you're going to be depriving yourself from. But if you trust and then realize that that person or that connection wasn't the right one for you, you can put a stop to it. You have to have this instinct when you go into business, to understand if the person is right or not, and for what that person is right or not. Because maybe you can be working with someone because they're amazing at this specific topic, but maybe you don't want to have a different type of relationship. Although in my case, I always, like, I need to work with someone that is in a similar setting, like mindset of success, or a good energy type of thing, because I've also found in my career journey that it's not, talent is not enough. You also have to have a good mindset. When you come and work with, specifically with us, you have to have a good mindset, good energy, and the best of intentions, right? Sometimes you think because someone is talented, they need to be on my team. And it's not the case in our case,
Mm-hmm.
because we actually value the person behind the
Yeah,
talent, right? And we think that talent can be taught as well,
it
but
can.
to be a good person is like a different subject. So I think it all revolves around knowing your own value as well, because that gives you a space to offer help, and that builds a sense of trust in who you're talking to. And also, purpose is important, because it's not the same to do something to get something back than to do something that aligns with your values, that builds trust. For
Yeah.
example, the Women Who Network initiative. So we're talking to these women that are in amazing leadership positions, but they're also sharing their story. And we're doing this because it's part of our purpose, being a women founded and women led company. Me loving networking, it's like my ikigai, to put you, like, to put into this type of context. I love doing it. And I love Women Who Network because I enjoy doing it. I meet amazing people, and I also go to network and find opportunities in common with those people, not only
Mhm.
guests, but the community as well. Same thing with CROING. There's a need for what we do out there, and it helps a lot of brands. We love our team, and it's a blessing that we get to do this every day for the brands we know and love.
I love it. Let's move on to your book, The Guide to Building Meaningful Connections. In it, you explore the power of authentic networking. Based on your experience working with global brands and diverse audiences, what do you see as the biggest barrier to real, authentic relationships, especially during times of uncertainty?
Amazing. And I think, thought leadership was something that came to me after my maternity leave, after I had the baby,
Oh,
because when I came back to work, I wanted to bring something new to the table because I knew that the team has like they were accustomed to being without me, and that was one of my goals, obviously, because I love the team and I love the company. So I wanted to bring something new, and I thought about thought leadership and personal branding for the leaders of the company. And that drove me to networking, because what I think is the biggest barrier that a person could have to build this type of network and company is whether or not they know the importance of a personal brand.
wow.
I think when you're in a job that is about a big company and you're in there and you rely a lot on what the company is, and you become your title.
Yeah.
So, when you're building a network, you have to understand that you have value and that you have something to offer outside of, for example, you work at Google, but your name is Angie Salazar. Where your name is Angie Salazar. You're not necessarily Angie Salazar from Google, you're Angie Salazar. And I mentioned that because I have a friend that is currently going into a transition from that company, and the name is so big that you want to be attached to it forever. But when
Yeah.
you understand that you are yourself are a personal brand, and that by building trust on your personal brand, you're opening yourself to a lot of opportunities. So I think in these times, the most important thing is to have a presence and a developed personal brand, whether it's online or offline. I know times are hard, and sometimes we might want to think that it's not going to happen for us. But I think having a personal brand brings you so much closer to authentic relationship building, because it makes you be seen by more and more people. And I
Yeah.
can meet a specific number of people a week, but if you are being seen on LinkedIn by thousands, that's the most important thing, like on social media and offline. And that's why we've built personal brands. And the magic there is what you write on those posts should be a reflection of who you truly are. So
Yeah.
finding that is really important as well.
Yeah, as you were talking, I was thinking about it from a recruiter perspective and from a career development perspective. And it feels like, and a lot of the advice that job seekers are given, or a lot of advice that even employees of companies are given, is in contradiction to the very good advice that you just gave, because you have people who work at these companies, when they leave them, they add, the first thing they do is add to their headline that they're X this,
Ex-
X that. You see like a whole bunch of like X Google, X this, X that. And I'm like, yikes.
no, babe.
And,
I mean,
yeah, but we've been conditioned, especially recruiters, to look for someone that works at Google, someone that works at Amazon, someone that works. So those people are standing out. But I love that you said that's not who you are. That's where you worked. So that's a great thing. I hope that more of us do that are permitted to do that shift, and that companies even catch up, because you just said it's your personal brand, it's your LinkedIn, it's not your company's LinkedIn. But you have now, I mean, it's evolved, but not 100%, because we still see people who are they'll if they do something online, whether it's offensive to everyone or offensive to one person, they contact your employer and then it becomes a big deal. But you have people, we have people with social media, guidelines that say you can't talk about this on the internet and say that you're a part of our company. So yeah, that you just opened a whole can of words for me. I think we need to maybe revisit like a whole personal branding conversation, how that's evolved and what we can do. Yeah, I would love
Right.
that. I would
I'm
love that.
open to that 100%. And I think it's so important. And I noticed that X blah, blah, blah thing that you
Mm-hmm.
were saying. And I was struck because obviously it gives you like when you meet someone, what you
Yeah.
want to project is a perspective, right?
Okay.
So when you're talking about you being X, this, and this, you're associating yourself with something known, right?
Yeah.
And it's simpler. But if you build something, then if you are looking for a job, for example, then this recruiter can go into your LinkedIn because you've already applied and read something that you wrote, and now they're understanding who you are before your
Mm-hmm.
interview. So it's like
Right.
you get certain amount of time when you interview, and if you have this content that aligns with who you are, then you have like more. Even for example, for my husband's resume, I told him like put a link or two for your content that people can
Yeah.
go and read a little bit about how you explain your experience before the interview. And I think that sort of thinking is gonna drive the recruiting industry, the
Mm-hmm.
like people looking for jobs to a whole nother dimension, because obviously in that specific amount of time you don't get to say everything, and you can be a little bit nervous, or but if you can include more content, I think it's pretty cool.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Yeah, we got to put a pin in that. That's a whole other episode of Track Chat. We could just spend on personal branding.
Yay.
So, all right. So, accountability, it can be both internal and external. When you're leading teams, how do you keep yourself and others aligned with meeting goals when there's a major shift in direction?
Perfect. So I think the most important thing is for the team to understand the values of the company. So maybe if you're already in a company that is considered traditional, a major shift will impact you more heavily than if you're already in a company that the values attached to it are innovation, for example, in the case of growing. So if one of your main values is innovation, you need to train your team to be adapting to change fast. So, in my case, my team already knows everything can change pretty quickly and they are open to it. Some have had more trouble adapting to this mindset than others, but when a shift in direction happens, the most important thing is for me, is to be able to explain to the team why we're shifting. And our reasons are part of the mission of the company. So because they are already aligned to the culture and the mission the company has, grabbing this major shift and turning it into part of the company mission is pretty aligned with what they usually have in mind from us, right? To be innovative, to make sure the clients are part of the conversation, and to keep showing up for them. And we know that if we don't take advantage of an opportunity, someone else will. So it's more about the team understanding the culture of the company than about a specific change. But
Yeah.
also, we don't treat anyone as if they're task doers. We ask for the opinion they can have as well. So in our case, for example, something shifted. We explain the change, but we also explain this is what is happening. What is your take on it? Do you think this is something that we want to go for? Like in your mindset, because as I was telling you at the beginning, our team is pretty well selected. So we
Yeah.
work with them because we specifically want their opinion on the stuff that they do best. So for us, it's not only like this change, but I think this can change. what it's your take on it, because you're also the expert on this specific subject. So we have a lot of respect for them, but it all ties to the company culture and the mission. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. Let's shift just a bit to women who network. Yeah, you created that to address specific barriers women face in professional settings. What moment sparked that initiative, and how does your proactive approach help women overcome hesitation, especially around networking?
Perfect. So when I started my personal brand and content, one of the first speaking engagements I had was with this community called Latinas in Tech. And I
Okay.
talked about personal branding and networking for their summit. And the questions I get asked by some of the attendants were similar to, how can I build a professional relationship with someone I don't know, like a stranger? And I thought to myself that if I would have thought that at the beginning of my career, I wouldn't have been able to build anything that I've built so far.
Mm,
So I identified that problem, and then I started thinking, how can I combine my love for networking, my love for our community? Because I don't know if you knew, but women, according to a LinkedIn study, women are 30% less likely to consciously build a network than men. And
wow.
for Latinas, the number is obviously less because of all the minority issues and stuff, exactly the same with multicultural backgrounds and all of that. So I identified that problem, and I also started thinking about what can I do to make this better, because obviously I can go to another conference, I can speak on it and stuff, but that is more occasional. So what can I do that ties to my brand, also is in consonance with growing values? And
Okay.
I don't know how I got into the specific point of it, but I started doing it. And it started with a LinkedIn newsletter. Then it became a podcast. And
Yeah.
we also have a YouTube channel. So it's pretty cool. And we are on our second season right now. We've interviewed around 50 women. And
Wow.
yes, and something that shifted a little bit in this second season. First, I had guests in Spanish, like interviews in Spanish, and that's something that made me really proud. And also, I realized that even though it started being for people that were starting to network, the episodes have helped a lot of people that have already networked a lot and gone to events and stuff, but want to be better at it.
Yeah.
So it's cool because I have been helped by my guests, and then I saw in the community marketing directors and people like brand managers and stuff, founders. So I realized that it's not for a beginner, it's about continuing to nurture your relationship with networking and your relationships in general, because that's what we're trying to do, build connections and build meaningful relationships.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I hope everyone takes some time to go and look up Women Who Network, watch podcast episodes, and get to know the 50 plus, 50 and growing women that you've already interviewed. That's an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, for listeners who are facing their own pivot points, whether changing industries like you have, returning to the workforce, which you've also done, or they're just unsure how to show their value, what is one habit or mindset shift that's enabled you to repeatedly meet the moment?
Love it. And I want to go back to my early years because my mom and dad, they have three daughters, and they knew from the beginning that, women needed to work so much harder to accomplish a lot of stuff. So they instilled in us our value. So what I always try to say is, you have so much to offer. I think one of our biggest obstacles when working towards our goal is believing that everyone is doing us a favor, and it's not the case.
Oh,
Like, because you're interviewing, is that doesn't mean that the company interviewing you has all of this power um, on you, right? You're also part of the you're also valuable to them, and you are part of
Mhm.
what they are looking for and what they need. So if you go ahead and have that energy, it'd be so much easier for you. And for me, when I've had to find new jobs and new clients, and that's my current case, I've always had in mind what I have to offer. And we offer as a team, a company, our company is so valuable, even when talking about agency client relationships, you know.
Okay.
Sometimes brands think that they are in this space and then agencies are behind trying to get them. But for us, like in my mindset, we are offering them help that will take the brand to the next level. So when
Mhm.
you're in their mindset, you can offer your expert advice, you can bring campaigns that are really valuable to them, and you're not thinking about, I need to sell, but you're thinking about, what do you need from me, because I'm going to work with you to meet those goals. So I think that power shift and that perspective shift is so important. And I think not only if you're looking for a job, but also if you're in a position like, for example, marketing VP or partnership coordinator, that
Mhm.
you might think that the other has more power in it. You need to refresh your mindset and understand the value that you're offering and what you're bringing to the table so that it can really be impactful. And it's not only about what you're doing, it's about the purpose that you have in this life. And I think that's the most important thing, because for us, for example, we want to help our US Hispanic community. That's why we offer these
Mhm.
services to brands, because they want to be represented in the TV commercials. We want to be represented in the campaigns. So let's do it in a meaningful and authentic way so the brand can get that impact, but we can also feel like we are there, right? Because representation is so important. And then, with the initiative Women Who Network, we also have Women Who Brand, our sister podcast that hosted by
Okay.
my sister specifically. So she's also inspiring more women to get into these creative director roles, brand managers
Oh,
that are more.
wow.
Yes, and those job positions are masculinized in our field of work, right? So we're
Yeah.
trying to do the thing, we understand our value, and that's what my advice would be. Understand what you're bringing to the table so that your energy reflects that you're trying to help someone, a company, a client. You're trying to help them get to the next level. It's not like they doing you a favor, so that
Yeah.
kind of mindset really helps to bring your best self to every interaction.
I love that. That was some amazing, excellent masterclass advice. I so appreciate you. So before we get out of here, it's time for rapid fire. This is where I get to learn more about my guests on a personal level, in addition to their career accomplishments. So, first question: who is a well-known and or lesser-known historical or contemporary figure who inspires you and we should learn more about?
I'm gonna go with a current one. It's called Boss. She's called Bosoma Saint John. She's a
I know for
powerhouse
some.
in marketing.
Yeah.
Really amazing. She's a powerhouse in marketing, unapologetically bold, and a master of storytelling. Her presence in the creative industry
Yeah.
is a testament to what it means to own your voice and lead with authenticity. I love that she can be a marketing director, but also go ahead and be in a carnival with an amazing outfit. Like her personal brand is a great reflection to what she is, and I
Yeah.
love that. Mhm.
She comes on that one of the Housewives show too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I met her on a marketing event, and
Nice.
then I knew I heard that she was part of that, and I said, like, I love multifaceted people, that are not afraid of changing courses, and I love it. I love
Yeah,
her.
she has some amazing companies under her belt. I believe she worked at Netflix,
Yeah,
um,
a lot of companies.
some other ones. Yeah, I think Netflix was maybe the last place. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is a good one. What fictional character gives you a glimpse of yourself?
Well, I can say Olivia Pope from Scandal.
You're, you're my second Olivia Pope this
Really?
year.
Oh, I
Yeah.
need to see the first one because I love it.
Okay.
So I love high pressure situations, strategizing my way through challenges, and making big things happen behind the scenes. I love it.
Okay. What is your favorite empowering quote?
So, si no hay un asiento en la mesa, trae tu propia silla. And it means if there's no, yes, and it means if there's no seat at the table, bring your own chair.
I love it. Say it again in Spanish. Say it again.
Si no hay un asiento en la mesa, tráete tu propia silla.
I love it. I'm
Yes.
gonna have to learn. I'm gonna have to learn it in Spanish.
Ah, of
Okay.
course.
If you could spend a day shadowing someone in a different profession, who would it be, and what would you hope to learn from them?
Well, I do it with top venture capitalists because I love business growth. I'd love to learn
Okay.
about it and learning how high level investors think about brand positioning, storytelling, and scalability would be amazing for me and a different perspective to what I've done. So
Okay. Okay. I just finished watching one of those reality shows about the start of Uber, and the venture capitalist was like, very close in there. And yeah, so
mhm.
that's a good one. I haven't had anyone say that before. So
Really?
there you go. Ooh, what
Mhm.
is your go-to songs, or music genre when you want to hype yourself up to conquer the day?
Reggaeton. So I love reggaeton and Latin pop. Lately, I've been listening a lot to Bad Bunny and also the latest album from Selena Gomez. And I
Okay.
love pop culture and Latin music. And in my LinkedIn, you will see that I've done comparisons between these pop culture moments and marketing. So I love mixing the
Mm,
two. So, for example, for the Selena album, I did a take on rare beauty, and for Bad Bunny, it's like how brands can show and be authentic, like he did. So, I love
okay.
that.
Ooh, what is the best piece of career advice you've received you would give to your early career self?
You don't need permission.
Yeah.
So, I built my career by taking initiative, making connections, and going after opportunities instead of waiting for them to come to me.
I love that. Oh, you've already written a book, but when you write your next book describing your career so far, what will the title be?
The title will be No Plan B, Building a Creative Career on My Own Terms.
Okay, have you already started writing it?
No, I haven't. You gave me this amazing idea.
Well, we're going to be looking for that in
Yes.
2026. Okay. Okay. All right. Before you go, please share any upcoming projects or initiatives we should be on the lookout for. And also, please give folks a way to get in touch with you, follow your work, subscribe to your channels, buy your book, all that good stuff.
Yes. So we're gonna be creating more strategic content. My LinkedIn Thought Leadership Gain is amazing. I have two newsletters on LinkedIn. One is called Marketing Bites, and the other one is for women who network. So
Yeah.
you can catch me there. It's Anggie Salazar. My email is angie@croing.com. And we have an event coming up, our first Women Who Network, Women Who Brand event in New York. And it's going to be in July. So we're planning that along with Women NYC, an
That's
initiative that we've been
beautiful.
part of for a while now. So yes, we're working on that. And if you want to check out our agency, it's CROING.com. CROING.com.
Yes. Thank you so much, Angie. Like I said, you always bring a huge smile to my face. You are amazing. You drop some beautiful gems. And I am going to, like I said, have you back here soon so we could talk about personal branding. Make
All
sure you follow Angie at Anggie Salazar. Two G's, by the way. Uh,
right.
She's on Instagram, LinkedIn. You can also follow CROING, CROING agency, and meet the rest of her family.
Yes,
I
amazing.
also
Yes,
follow Women Who Network, read the newsletters, and we will see you next time on
thank
another episode of Trap Chat, meeting the moment, embracing and navigating pivots. Bye, everyone.